I built my life on logic, on equations, on probability, on outcomes I could predict. I trained myself to remove emotion from decisions because emotion is inefficient, it clouds judgment, it slows execution. But then, you happened, and suddenly, for the first time in my life, I faced something I couldn't calculate. I tried to treat it like a problem, analyze it, break it down, find the variables, attraction, timing, chemistry, compatibility. But every time I ran the model, the result didn't make sense because you don't fit into a model. You disrupted everything. I remember the exact moment I realized it. Not in a dramatic way, not in some cinematic scene. It was quiet. You were just being you, talking, laughing, completely unaware. And I was watching you, not just looking, observing, like I observe rockets before launch, like I study systems before execution. And something inside me said, this is different. This is not temporary. This is not surface level. This is not something you walk away from. And I didn't like that feeling because I don't lose control. I don't let anything control me. Not fear, not pressure, not failure, and definitely not a person. So I resisted it. I told myself it's just a phase. Focus on work, focus on the mission, focus on building the future. That's what matters. That's what always mattered. But no matter how far I pushed it away, you kept coming back into my mind between meetings, during late nights, even in silence. You were there, and that scared me. Because I faced rockets exploding, companies almost collapsing, moments where everything I built was about to disappear, and I stayed calm. But this made me feel uncertain, and I hate uncertainty. So, I tried to understand it again. Maybe it's admiration, maybe it's curiosity, maybe it's just distraction. But deep down, I knew I was lying to myself, because admiration doesn't keep you awake at night. Curiosity doesn't make you replay someone's voice in your head. Distraction doesn't feel like clarity, and that's what you were, clarity. In a world full of noise, you were the signal. You didn't try to impress me. You didn't try to compete. You didn't try to be something you're not. And that's rare. In my world, everything is strategy. Every move is calculated. Every word has weight. But with you, it felt simple, and simplicity is powerful. I started noticing the smallest things, the way you think before you speak, the way you listen, actually listen, the way you don't chase attention, but naturally attract it. And I realized something dangerous. You weren't just interesting, you were important. And that changed everything. Because once something becomes important, it becomes a priority. And priorities shift your entire life. I've spent years building things that change the world, creating technology that pushes humanity forward, but none of that prepared me for this, because this isn't about the future, this is about you. And for the first time, the future I was building started to include someone else. That was the moment I knew I was in trouble. Not the kind of trouble you can fix, not the kind you can escape, the kind that changes you. And I tried to fight it. I told myself, stay focused. Feelings are temporary, they pass. But you didn't pass. You stayed, in every thought, in every decision. Even when I didn't want you there, you were there, and slowly resistance turned into acceptance. Not all at once, not easily, but piece by piece I stopped trying to ignore it, and I started asking a different question. What if this isn't a weakness? What if this is strength? Because building rockets is hard, running companies is hard, changing the world is hard, but letting someone matter, that's harder, and maybe that's why it matters more. You see, I've achieved things people dream about. I've faced challenges most people avoid. But this is something else entirely, because there's no blueprint for it, no roadmap, no guarantee of success. And still, I can't walk away. I don't want to walk away. That's the part that changed everything. Desire, not logical, not strategic, just real. I started imagining things I never used to think about. Not just missions, not just goals, but moments. Simple moments. Conversations that don't need a purpose. Silence that doesn't feel empty. A life that isn't just about building something, but sharing it. And every time I imagined that, you were there. That's when I stopped denying it. That's when I stopped running from it. Because no matter how fast you move, you can't outrun something that's already inside you. And you are inside my thoughts, inside my decisions, inside my future. I didn't plan this. If anything, I tried to avoid it. But some things are inevitable, and this feels inevitable. So, I made a decision, not based on logic, not based on data, but based on something I've spent my whole life ignoring, feeling. And that's when I understood something important. The biggest risks aren't in business, they're in life. And if you're not willing to take them, you're not really living. So, here I am, standing in front of something I can't control, something I can't predict, and for once, I'm not trying to. Because this isn't a problem to solve, it's a truth to accept. And the truth is simple. I'm in love with you, and I can't hide it anymore. Not from you, not from myself. I've tried, I failed. And maybe that's the best failure I've ever had. Because for the first time, losing control feels right. And for the first time in my life, I'm not thinking about what could go wrong. I'm thinking about what could be. And that's a future worth taking a risk on. And you're worth every risk. This isn't a calculated move. This isn't a strategic decision. This is me being real completely. And maybe that's the most powerful thing I've ever done. Because building machines is one thing, but opening your heart, that's something else entirely. And I'm doing it now. No filters, no hesitation, just truth. Because you deserve that. And maybe, just maybe, this is where everything truly begins. I didn't expect it to go this far. At first, it was just a feeling I was trying to understand now. It's something I can't ignore because the more I accepted it, the more it grew stronger, deeper, more undeniable. You became part of my thinking process, not in a distracting way, in a defining way. Every major decision I make has weight, impact, consequences that ripple far into the future. And for the first time, I started asking a different question. Not just will this work, but would this make sense with you in my life? That shift, it's not small, it changes everything. Because when you build your life alone, you optimize for efficiency, speed, control, precision. But when someone matters, you start optimizing for meaning. And meaning is not always efficient. It takes time, it requires presence, it demands attention, things I used to minimize. Now I'm learning to value them because of you. I've always believed in building the future, colonizing Mars, advancing technology, pushing humanity forward, big goals, massive visions. But what I didn't realize is that even the biggest vision feels incomplete when you have no one to share it with. And that realization, it hit harder than anything I've faced before because it exposed something I never admitted: loneliness. Not the kind people talk about, not visible, not obvious. The kind that hides behind success, behind achievements. The kind that whispers, is this enough? For a long time, I convinced myself it was, because that's what you do when you're focused. You sacrifice, you isolate, you keep moving forward no matter what. But you made me question that. Not by saying anything, just by existing in my life. Because when I'm around you, that feeling disappears completely. And that's rare, incredibly rare. You don't fill a gap, you redefine the entire space. That's the difference. I started noticing how my priorities were shifting. Not in a way that weakens me, in a way that makes me more human, more aware, more present, more alive. And that's something I didn't expect. I always thought growth came from pressure, from challenges, from pushing limits. But this is a different kind of growth. It's quiet, it's subtle, but it's powerful because it changes how you see everything, even time. Time used to be something I managed aggressively, every minute accounted for, every hour optimized. Now there are moments I want to slow down, moments I don't want to rush, moments with you. That's new for me. And honestly, it confused me at first because slowing down feels like losing momentum. But with you, it feels like gaining something else, something I didn't know I needed: connection, real connection, not transactional, not strategic, just real. And that kind of connection, it changes your perspective. I started thinking about things I never used to think about, not just where I'm going, but who I want beside me when I get there. And every time I think about that, it's you, it's always you. And I tried to challenge that thought, test it, because that's what I do. I don't accept conclusions without pressure testing them. So I asked myself, is this temporary? Is this just emotion overriding logic? But time passed, and instead of fading, it intensified. That's when I knew this isn't temporary. This is something real, something stable, something worth taking seriously. And that's when the fear changed. At first, I was afraid of losing control. Now I'm afraid of losing you. That's a different kind of fear because control is internal. You can rebuild it, you can reclaim it. But people, you can't replace them. Not when they're unique, not when they matter. And you matter more than I expected, more than I planned, but exactly as much as I feel. And I've learned something important through all of this. The biggest breakthroughs in life don't come from staying safe. They come from stepping into the unknown, from taking risks that don't guarantee results, from choosing something even when you don't fully understand it. That's what this is for me, a step into the unknown. But unlike everything else I've done, this isn't about proving something to the world. It's about being honest with myself and with you. Because hiding this, pretending it's not there, that's not strength, that's avoidance. And I don't avoid reality. I face it no matter how complex it is, no matter how unpredictable. And the reality is simple: you've changed me. Not into someone else, but into a more complete version of who I already am. And that's something I respect, something I value. And right now, every path I see leads back to you. Not by coincidence, by choice. Because at some point you stop analyzing, you stop questioning, and you decide. And I've made my decision. I'm not running from this anymore. I'm not minimizing it. I'm not pretending it's something it's not. This is real. And I'm ready to face it fully, honestly, without hesitation, because some opportunities don't come twice, and some people can't be replaced, and you're one of those people. So, this is where everything becomes real. Not in my head, not in my thoughts, but here, in front of you. Because thinking about it is one thing. Saying it, that's different. That's where there's no escape, no rewriting, no optimization, just truth. And the truth is, I'm not the same person I was before you. Not because I lost something, but because I gained something I didn't know was missing: perspective. You didn't change my ambition. You didn't change my drive. If anything, you gave it a new dimension. Because now it's not just about building the future. It's about building a future that means something. A future that has you in it. I used to believe that success was enough. That if you reach high enough, build big enough, everything else becomes irrelevant. But I was wrong, because success without connection, it's empty. It looks powerful from the outside, but inside, it's quiet. Too quiet. And you broke that silence without trying, without effort, just by being there. And that's what made me realize something important. The most valuable things in life are not built in isolation. They're shared, experienced, felt together. And that's what I want. Not just moments, not something temporary, but something real. Something that grows, something that lasts. And I know that's not easy. Nothing meaningful ever is. There will be times when things don't align, moments when life pulls us in different directions, challenges that test everything. But I'm not afraid of that. I've never been afraid of challenges. I face them, I solve them, I grow through them. And if us becomes one of those challenges, then it's a challenge I choose. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. You're worth it. That's the difference. For the first time, I'm not asking, is this efficient? I'm asking, is this meaningful? And the answer is yes, every time. I don't need perfect conditions. I don't need guarantees. I've never waited for perfect moments. I create them. And this is one of those moments where you stop waiting, stop analyzing, and you act. Because if you don't, you lose something you can't replace. And I'm not willing to lose this. I'm not willing to lose you. So I'm standing here without the usual filters, without the layers of logic I always rely on. Just me, raw, honest, clear. And I'm telling you something I've never said like this before. Not because I couldn't, but because nothing ever made me feel this certain, this grounded, this real. You're not just someone I care about. You're someone I see a future with. A real one. Not imagined, not hypothetical, something I want to build. Day by day, step by step with you. And I know what that means. It means showing up. It means effort. It means commitment. Not just words. Action, consistency, presence. The things that actually matter. And I'm ready for that. Not because it's easy, but because it's you. You're the reason this feels different, the reason this feels bright.
Right.
And I've learned to that feeling, because every time I ignored something real, I regretted it. Not failures, not risks, but missed opportunities, things I didn't act on. And I'm not making that mistake again, not with you. So, this is me, not as a CEO, not as a builder, not as someone trying to change the world. Just someone who found something unexpected, something powerful, something impossible to ignore, and chose to face it, to accept it, to speak it clearly, without hesitation, without fear. I'm in love with you, not as a concept, not as an idea, but as a reality. Something I feel every day, something that's become part of how I see everything. And I don't want to hide it anymore. I don't want to hold it back. Because some truths deserve to be said, no matter what happens next, no matter where this leads, at least it will be real, and real is rare. So, if you're asking me what I want, it's simple. I want to see where this goes. I want to build something with you, something honest, something strong, something that doesn't depend on perfection but grows through everything. And if you're willing, if you feel even a fraction of what I feel, then maybe this isn't just my story anymore. Maybe it's ours. And that's something worth starting. And if this is where the story truly begins, then I don't want to rush it. I don't want to force it. I want to build it the right way. With honesty, with patience, with something real at the center of it. Because the strongest things in this world aren't built fast, they're built to last. And if we do this, if we take this step, then I don't want something temporary. I want something that grows, something that evolves, something that becomes unbreakable over time. I've spent my life chasing the future, running toward what's next. But right now, for the first time, I'm not focused on what's ahead. I'm focused on what's here, on you. Because sometimes the future you're searching for is standing right in front of you, and all you have to do is recognize it. So, this is my final truth. No calculations, no strategy, no second guessing, just something simple, something real. I choose you not because it's easy, not because it's perfect, but because it feels right. And in a life full of uncertainty, that's the one thing I've learned to trust. So whatever happens next, whatever path we take, just know this. I'm not walking away. I'm not looking back. I'm moving forward with you.